Hello friends, and welcome. My name's Popeye, and today we're playing some more Igarashi Chapter 8, Matsuribayashi, I think is that what it's called? I should know. Matsuribayashi. I got it right. I should trust myself more. And before we get into this game, I just want to put out some trigger warnings that this game has, so everyone is aware. If any of these things make you feel uncomfortable, please by all means find some place that you'd rather be tonight. This game has themes such as death, murder, dismemberment, blood, gore, suicide, body horror, kidnapping, child abuse, any of those things against a minor. In fact, most of the events that take place are regarding children under the age of about 15, some as young as about 10 or 11. If you missed any of what I said, please feel free to ask me again to repeat it, or check a look down below in the description, where I have a list of all the trigger warnings that these games tend to have. Alright, so what happened last time? This game starts off as where Takano, as a child, with her grandfather, air quotes because we find out that they're not actually related. We find out that as a child, her parents were on a trip. I think they were on a train. There was a train accident. Her mother died instantly. Her father was alive long enough that they got him to a hospital. She was able to come over, but there wasn't a whole lot of time before he was rushed into emergency surgery, where he died. All that she was able to get before he goes in was to find out that there's a gentleman that she has no relatives. No one else will take her in. But she does have a man that her father recommends that she seek out, called Hifumi Takano. Takano being her now last name. And then we bounce back a bit and forth between the past and the present. So obviously, the government searches, first for are there any relatives, and then there being none, sends her to an orphanage. She mentions that there's this Hifumi Takano that her father spoke about. They ask her, do you know him? Do you know where he lives? Do you know his phone number? And of course she doesn't know anything because she's 5. And I was only heard about him in literally the past, whatever, day, 2 days, and just knows the name. So she gets sent to an orphanage, and this orphanage is awful. They make them study, or at the very least pretend to study. Anyone who doesn't follow their rules, or just looks at the staff the wrong way, gets beat up, tortured. They haven't discussed rape, but I wouldn't put that off the table in this game. And it's run more like a prison than anything else. And we learn that the leader of their dorm, I can't remember what her name is, she discovered that the key to the hen house, which is, house where they keep a bunch of hens, also is the same key for the back door, just because back then lock manufacturers would use the same key to open certain locks, and it's the same thing, I guess, as if you had like a combination lock, and there's only a certain number of combinations, so eventually you have to use the same ones. Except in this case, they only had whatever, 20, 50 different locks, so it would sometimes happen where two locks would share a key, and that's what this person discovered. And then they go into this backstory of there was a group of kids before, 4 of them, who escaped, split the party to increase their odds of making it over to, there's allegedly a nice orphanage on the other side. That's all sunshine, rainbows. It's all hearsay. And if you make it there, you are safe. You will have a good life. However, if you get caught, you get tortured, and the rumor is the last kid, they killed him. And made it look like an accident. So, this is what they know going into it. The four of them decide, you know what, we'll do it. We'll take the risk. I think at that point, I think we jump ahead to Takano as an adult, where she is carrying on the research of her oh no, we spent some time with her grandfather, where she's asking about his research, and basically his research is about parasites in the brain that can control ideas, concepts in you, and how that has shaped the world. Like, if a parasite is capable of changing your brain, could it, create a religion, create a war, create some kind of movement or idea that will better itself and keep itself alive, or put it in a better place? However, this is considered taboo research, so he is not a respected researcher. Although Takano seems to be, one, fairly adept at this research, and two, be on board with her grandfather's research. We then find out that she's been continuing the research herself, has made some progress, although I don't think they really specify what the progress is itself. But she's seen talking with an old, wealthy man who used to be a friend of her father. We find out that her father was a doctor during World War II, and that this gentleman was, I guess, in the same combat zone, and being from the same hometown, they became friends, even though this gentleman was much younger than her grandfather. And talks about how, at the time, during the war, there was interest in her grandfather's research that you could control people's minds with parasites, but the army wanted a quick solution, and this would have been too long. This would have been like years down the road. They also go into a bunch of history of Japan and wars with Russia and China, and insinuate that the Sino-Japanese War, which started with a gunshot at a bridge, was actually caused by one of the people from Hinamizawa who had the syndrome and was going crazy, and that potentially lost Japan the war. There's a whole thing about that. We went into detail on that last time, so I won't go into detail on that. And that was another reason why the top brass of the military didn't want to get into the research, because it would mean admitting that they were the ones responsible for starting that war, and they didn't want to apologize to China, because big dick contest wars, right? So now that her grandfather's dead, and all the top brass who are part of that are dead, and just this one guy left, he tells her all this information and secures her the funding, which he then uses his connections as well to get into this like secret military research side of the government, which is how they end up getting the Hinamizawa project. And they interview some people, and she ends up going with Irie as the chief of staff, because Irie was specialized in essentially lobotomizing people as a way of curing illnesses, which became it fell out of practice with good reason. In I think the 60s, I think they said, because it had like some benefits, but you also risk just like basically screwing up an entire person. But he believed that you could control people's emotions by modifying their brain, essentially. Which kind of fits in line with Takano's research, which is why he was on board. So that's why Takano hires him to be the lead researcher. And now we've cut back to she was having a party to celebrate with the people from the secret society, being like, hey, your research, like, it's kicked off, you're going to start soon. And she's in the rain, and she's this flashback to their escape. So they escape, they're noticed as they're, like, unlocking the door. They do the thing, they scatter. A dude chases after her, catches her, has just, like, hand over her mouth, finger in her mouth, trying to just, like, force a finger down her throat to choke her, to knock her unconscious. And she bites down hard on this finger. She says she doesn't think she bit the finger off, but, you know, it could just be, like, there's not much left, like, holding it together, basically. So she keeps booking it, but it becomes nighttime. She has this yelling contest with the storm, which she interprets to be God, being like, what did I do to deserve this? You know, I was just a kid. I've never been happy. Like, if you'd created me great happiness at one point in my life, and then, like, great despair to, like, balance it out, fine, but you haven't given me that happiness yet, so what is this for? And she asks God to strike her down with a bolt of lightning. A bolt of lightning does come down, but it strikes a tree behind her, missing her. She interprets this as she has beaten God. And at that point, she sees a light ahead of her. It's a street lamp, so she heads out to the road, and she sees the telephone box just standing there. And even though she knows there's nothing she can do with this telephone box, she heads to it anyways. And that's where we are now. She's just opened it. There's all sorts of bugs, you know, because there's a light. But yeah. So we'll kick off from there. Oh, and I had said last time that there's a bunch of lines that are unvoiced. I did some quick research. It seems that this is actually how the game is. It's just there's a bunch of unvoiced things in it, and it's a bit sporadic. Yeah, I took a look at just one other person who I trust to be a good source of this content, and they had, like, the same lack of voice in a bunch of spots. I usually hated bugs, but in that moment I felt like they were my friends, sheltering from the rain like me. There was no heater, still very warm inside of the booth. It sheltered me from the cold rain. Soon enough I crumbled to the floor. Warmth from the fluorescent light embraced me gently. I felt like it was telling me it's okay to cry. But I had no more tears left because I cried them all when the lightning struck. Aching scratches covered my body. My calves were in pain too. Everything hurt everywhere, and I didn't want to get up ever again. I wish I could fall asleep. But if I did that, the staff from the orphanage might find me. The windows on the booth were high up, so if I sat down I wouldn't be visible from the outside. Thank you for that host, Tedbeard. Although, interestingly, I did try your thing of host alerts. I didn't see the alert. Did it actually come through? And thank you for contributing to the challenge. Interesting. I'll take a look at it again. I'm pretty sure I did how you described. So you have the default as I can't remember which way it is. If it's 0 and then the variation's 1, or if it's 1 and it's 0. But yeah, okay. Yeah, that is frustrating. But what else do you expect from Twitch at this point? Yeah. Yeah, no problem. I would say have fun with your paperwork, but when has paperwork ever been fun? Unless you're applying to clown school, then maybe your paperwork is fun. I would love if the paperwork for clown school is just like, here's a piece of paper. How many places can you make it come out of? 1, 2, 3. I would hate to be the person taking that paperwork in, but, you know. Page 76. Yeah, I'll just say that that does sound awful. Thank you for the quote. Staff would be sure to check it. That's why I couldn't stay there for long. Telephone booths from back then were completely made of glass, so it was possible to hide inside one. My exhausted spirit understood that I had to move, but I just couldn't make myself. Maybe I was experiencing some kind of vision. I felt a strange calmness that I'd never experienced before. Origami Matsutra. Oh, also, there may or may not be a new emote that I just kind of threw in half an hour ago, just because. I didn't feel that I was myself. It was very strange. I thought that maybe I was killed by that lightning. I assumed I was still Mio Tanashi, so there was her original name. Maybe I wasn't her at all. I seriously considered those things, and I started to think that the telephone booth had something to do with it. Because God led me there. He couldn't have done so just because he was providing shelter from the rain. There had to be something else. I wondered what it was. Could there be something in the booth that could save me? But what? The telephone booth was used to make a telephone call. I didn't have any money. But then, I noticed something that looked like copper. My heart skipped a beat. 10-yen coin I saw wasn't there before. I just miss it? Didn't think so. Must have just showed up. In other words, this 10-yen coin was guidance from God, telling me to make a call with that coin. But who? There's no telephone book. In that case, I can only call a number I knew. Did God want me to do that then? It's only one coin. I can only call one number. And I couldn't talk for that long. I had challenged God earlier, so it was just a matter forced to think that God was challenging me in return. I had only one chance. He wanted me to test my luck with that chance. Samus says, save your money for your car troubles. Not on a 2-year streak. I'm glad that your car is fixed, though. And hello, Panic. I see you contributing to the run. It's a drive-in stream. Why is the SWAT team here? I mean, I think you're about as far away as you can be. This is why the SWAT team is here, and I know it. If this place is what I wanted, I must be the biggest masochist of all time. The police are here to punish me. You're safe as long as there's no police, apparently. I left the telephone booth and looked up at the sky, and I yelled in my heart, "You're on, God." I wondered who I would call. Deal with the police, they aren't prepared for your snark. My house? My parents were dead and I had no relatives. Even if I called, nobody would answer. You could... Okay, so I haven't played Fortnite. I have played Apex. Not a lot, like a couple hours. I'm not a fan of those kinds of games, I discovered. You have a guitar tuner, the police can't touch you. What if you tune by ear? Who's Feet Daddy? Hello, Hat. How's it going? I never learned how to play guitar. There was one point in time someone taught me like the the normal chords, like whatever, C, G, E, whatever it was, which I promptly forgot within 20 minutes and haven't touched really a guitar since. I recommend pointing your null at an undefined. Hello, little bro. How's it going? Immune to sleep? That's pretty suspicious. I don't know why there's feet chat. Feet Daddy did not ask who's Feet Daddy. We're just a girl with 10 yen coin trying to make a phone call in the rain. Jeez. Actually, the phone bill wouldn't have been paid for a long time, so the phone line would have already been disconnected. My house is my lost life itself. We need burning sandals now, too. What has Hat promised? Oh, I see that 75% complete coming up. We're almost at 40,000, jeez. Meanwhile, there's no debris of my life. Calling home would simply be an expression of regret. With any and all pointer problems he may face. Maybe Hat themselves is having a pointer problem and they can't see where they pointed that information at. Which round counter to the positive attitude of trying to change their life. Of one trying to change their life. For surely using that coin to call my house was wrong. Which meant I had to cast this 10 yen coin toward my future. Future? My future? What future, anyway? And I heard a huge thunderclap which cleared my mind. Oh, our mind just went zen. And like, I am getting tanned from this white screen. In that clear state of mind, I saw something from the past. Does C++ support not a number? Jeez, it's been too long since I've touched C++. I think it has not a number. Whether or not you can assign it that, or it's just an exception, I can't recall. It was the last sight of my father. His final moments on the hospital bed. He was suffering from pain. He tried to tell me something very important.
Takano senseiを頼りなさい。Takano, Hifumi sensei だよ。
Eightbeard doesn't exist here.
言ってみなさい。
Takano, Hifumi?
そうだ。Takano, Hifumi 先生だよ。Takano 先生はお父さんの恩師な。
Is there going to be more lawyers' fees in chat soon?
お前を助ける。
You heard it from Deadbeard first. The beard is the real thing, not him. Many doctors came into the room in a hurry. He wanted to tell me something else, but the doctor stopped him from talking, so it wasn't audible. It shouldn't have been, but it was to me. I heard it. I heard it, but I didn't want to hear him say it while suffering, so I pretended that I didn't hear it. He said it while coughing. I heard it. They were numbers. Swallowed once. That's right. It was a phone number. I knew nobody would take me in because we had no relatives. Told me to get in touch with him, Dr. Hifumi Takano. Jason! What had I done? Tried so hard using his last chance to tell me the most important thing. The thunder from earlier made me remember it. The number I couldn't remember even once came out so smoothly. It was 8674309. How did we hit 75% again? Because like 6 people came in and all just gave 2,000. I dialed it in. This really was it. It was the number from my father's teacher, Dr. Takano. But my hand stopped just as I tried to put the coin in. What if I hadn't remembered it correctly? No, there was no need to hesitate. I had to believe in myself. This had to be the correct number. I had to dial it before I forgot it again. I picked up the phone and put the coin in. Beep. I heard the dial tone on the other end. I feel sorry for whoever was using the dial-up internet and downloading a file. They're probably at 95% right now. At that point, I decided to kill myself if it didn't work. I could go back into the woods and wait for another lightning bolt. I could lie down and let the rainwater drown me. Please don't bring back your trauma. 31 out of 32 megabits after 4 hours, 99%. The longest one I remember. Oh, geez, this was in 2010. I still had dial-up internet in 2010. Is it 2010? Geez, 2011. 2011. It was an animation file for a class I was taking in high school. It was a final rendered clip that was no more than like 4 or 5 seconds in length. It took 7 hours to transfer. I could also fall asleep in the middle of the road and wait for a car to run me over. I made up my mind and put the coin in. I didn't hesitate any longer, and I dialed the number at once. But I had to be careful. If you dial quickly, sometimes you can make mistakes. I was getting irritated, and that almost made the phone number go vague in my head. I dialed the last digit and heard some electronic sounds on the other end. I hope that I dialed the correct number. Oh yes, because this isn't even the beep boop. This is an old school rotary phone. Ask 8Beard if you can go to sleep, but I don't think he's going to say anything. I didn't know what to say if Dr. Takano, if it did connect. Where was I? What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to ask him? I didn't know any of those things. Unscolding. What does an unscold look like? First of all, what does an unscold look like? And second of all, scolding and unscolding does not alter your sleep. This message brought to you by Popeye and his Twitch account. Any and all references to scolding and sleep stealing are null and void as of this moment. One 10-yen coin would only buy me a short time to talk. The line must have connected then. I heard a ringtone. I only had a short time when someone answered the phone. There's no lies, no payments, no conspiracies, no cults. I thought for a moment that I should put the phone down. Yeah, no bots. See, VIP Slave Beard knows what's going on. And I could at least get the coin back. I could call back after sorting out my thoughts. But then, someone answered.
Takano desu.
I felt like I was suffocating. I love how Slave Beard and Podpie at the exact same moments. Hello, Candy. How are you? Thank you for the host. Wait, Slavebeard has an army? What? I don't know what I'm expecting from this army. My memory had been correct. I couldn't tell the age of the speaker. It was a grown man's voice. Yeah, free Slavebeard. Oh no. Why is Mr. Coffee here? Anyone who was my father's teacher must have been quite old. Never mind that. I had to hurry and say something. You'll free him, but he was in captivity because he likes to cause havoc. Dang it, Slavebeard. Slavebeard, my life goal is to raid you, not the other way around.
Takano sensei ですか? 高野ひふみ先生ですか?
Also, I want everyone to just open their dictionaries and redefine army to meaning at least 2 people.
そうですが、どちら様ですか?
I can give you an answer, it just might not be related to your question. My guess, Samus, if I had to hazard a guess, it's that they were automatically banned using what's the thing, Deadbeer, that we use to ban a bunch of bots? Maybe they're listed on that as being spam. Yeah, that one. Maybe your thing's listed there, Samus's. That, or someone banned them as a joke and just forgot to unban them. Yes, you have powers. You can unban them yourself. I couldn't blame him. A stranger was asking him about his name. Of course he'd get suspicious. Yes, I'm very proud.
田無さん? はい。
私の父に高野先生に電話しろって言われたんです。父は田無武光と言います。
I just said I'm proud. That's all I said. I'm not Daddy Feet Man. There is a Daddy Snack Beard in chat right now, but not a Daddy Feet Man. His voice suddenly changed. Dr. Takano had remembered his old student.
私、娘です。お父さんに
No, I don't think Daddy Feet Man's on the screen. See? Yep, not on the screen, that's for sure. Yeah, oh. No, I don't want to go back in the... Guys, don't let me go back in Chaos's basement. See, even the game's like, not good. I was gonna run out of time.
お母さんが事故で死んじゃって、それで高野先生に電話しろって言われたんです。
田無君がお亡くなりに？そうですか。
Oh, the closet's even worse.
二人とも？それは本当にお気の毒です。
Suspicious.
Feet Man with feet, not to be confused with Feet Man without feet. And see, I'm not the Feet Man. There's another Feet Man. So it's not me. Feet Man without feet does not exist. Are we just gonna gloss over the fact that Chaos has dead bodies in his closet? Obviously, he didn't know I was born, but he remembered my father. That was truly a stroke of luck. I didn't know what to say. I was only told to call Dr. Takano. How could I tell him that? My time was running out. I felt more and more anxious by the minute. Phone calls are disconnected without notice. Somehow I sensed it. I only had enough time left for one sentence, so I decided to say one sentence filled with all of my hopes. You can't set me up for this and then not have me... Okay. One sentence that is filled with all of our hopes is this. You cannot force me to wear socks. Socks are evil. Why did it have to be about feet? I'm glad everyone agrees that socks are evil.
Suspicious.
Why is Scoldylocks here? I'm pretty sure Scoldylocks has been here before. The phone call got disconnected. Maybe he only heard part of what I said. I can only hope he was able to sense my despair. I couldn't hear anything from the receiver anymore, but I actually talked to Dr. Takano. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, I get the rash like on the top of the foot. I confirm that Dr. Takano existed. He existed and he remembered my father. Thank you for the chat quote, Deadbeard. If he grieved over a student's death, he would come visit my house. He would find out I was sent to an orphanage, and he would come get me. That's when tears flowed down my cheeks again. I thought that my life was hopeless. Never knew that finding even a grain of hope would make me feel so happy and strong. The voice I heard on the phone was so warm and dependable. My father must have thought about me for a long time in that hospital bed. Chaos... What is going on? Like, I know you're talking about the flip-flops down under. Hello, Pally, how's it going? This is my pickup line, this got me married. I can make you kiss my horse, good sir. Yeah. If they're willing to kiss your horse, they're willing to kiss you. I have no idea what's going on, but yeah, welcome to whatever this is. Dr. Hifumi Takano. So I could trust Dr. Takano. I had to believe that he would find me. It might take more than just a few days. I have to wait patiently. A few days, a month, more? But only wait patiently. Either way, I couldn't stay in the telephone box. Staff would easily find me there. I went out into the rain again. Oh, I see we're blaming Chaos for whatever the heck this is. I'm glad that we're doing that. Oh, and yes, happy birthday to Panic. This time the rain felt a little warmer than before. I had wished to die by lightning. After that phone call, I was filled with hope and the will to live. Ah, okay. We're using Mr. Coffee to fake birthdays now. I wanted to live. That was why I felt pain all over my body. I still wish to die. I didn't feel anything. I had to wait patiently until Dr. Takano came to pick me up. Recent birthday denial. I had to get to the House of Love and Mercy. That'd be the best place to wait for him. I didn't think the orphanages would tell him I escaped to the House of Love and Mercy. The house wouldn't stop me from calling him. All I have to do is call him again and let him know where I was. I didn't know where I could find the House of Love and Mercy. I know exactly what you're talking about, even though I wasn't there. I can pull up Scoldling. I have that audio clip. Where's Scoldling? Okay, here's Scoldling for you. Once VLC decides to open.
Well, hello, keep your money full.
What? Pally, stop that. Wait. Deadbeard, what? Yes, please undo. There's no sleep stealing here. There's no feet man except for the one that Deadbeard gifted a sub to. And there's no sleep stealing. Pond traumatized syndrome duck, PTSD. Panic the sexy duck, PTSD. But I couldn't just stop. I had to walk. Of course, Samus drops the coffee pot. Thanks for the quote, Deadbeard. That's what PTSD stands for, guys. I had to find shelter. I had to find someone to ask for directions to the House of Love and Mercy. I had to keep going because I finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Now it's the story of how she escaped from Chaos's basement. Chills and throbbing pain tormented me, but I couldn't die until I met Takano-sensei. You'll use that tag on the next stream. I wished a car would come by. It was someone who lived in the area I could ask. But the police wouldn't do me any good. I'm sure the orphanage had already called the police about our escape, and they wouldn't be forgiving. The police were sure to send me back to the orphanage. Either way, I wish that someone would show up. Otherwise, I'd have to keep walking on the asphalt in darkness forever. I see that we're at 42,000. How long did I walk? Still no car? Yeah, just ignore the car that's the far left end there. There's just no car. But just as I couldn't help but think that maybe the world perished, leaving only me behind, a car showed up. I sensed the car coming up behind me, so I turned around. I saw their headlights approaching me. I thought for a moment. Should I stand in the middle of the street to stop the car? It was so dark. I didn't think the car would notice if I just waved at it. If I were to stand in the middle of the street, I could get run over. Well, I thought. The car was getting closer and closer. I made the phone call. I panicked and didn't know what to say. To this car, I'd have to think very carefully. If I couldn't think of anything, then I should just let the car go. Those thoughts vaguely on my mind. I was incredibly surprised. The car slammed the brakes with a screech and came to a stop. Maybe I wasn't all there after this miraculous experience of lightning striking near me. I had half lost my mind in those dark woods, so I probably wasn't thinking very straight. Because the car had stopped after recognizing me. In other words, the driver knew who I was. The only people in the area who had recognized me were... Suddenly a chill ran through my whole body. I started to dash away. I heard a voice calling after me. I no longer had the strength to run. Feet were trembling and I couldn't make them cooperate. Oh no, we're up to 44,000. What is going on in chat? Deadbeard, do you need to take a break from reading that giant document? I realized then that I shouldn't have sat in the telephone booth. That was why I couldn't keep running. I was suddenly grabbed from behind, the collar of my clothes almost choking me. I heard fabric being ripped. I fell in a puddle and a staff member got on top of me. This time, his finger wasn't in my mouth. Please elaborate, game. Where was his finger? Yes, this is the 64 one. There have been some awesome people that have done a randomizer for it that I've been interested in and done a couple rounds recently. Oh, do we own multiple chainsaws? She bit it, but she didn't think it was bitten off, just like very mangled. But please clarify where the finger is, not just saying all you could do is struggle. As I did so, I remembered all the scary stories Eriko and the others told me. All the torture the child who was caught had to endure. The drowned ducky punishment. Panic, why did you make a duck punishment? For this, okay. Juggling time. So switch over to the alternate camera. Make my way over. How's this camera looking? That's alright. Alright. So no, I don't have chainsaws. Do I have... I was just say, do I have anything that resembles a blade? I don't think I should juggle that. Do I have anything? No, so I guess you get this. We'll get under the leg. There we go. Let's see if we can get... We can get a neck, perhaps. There we go. I was kind of trying that takeout feel that we've been working on as part of the juggle learn. What haven't we done in a while? We haven't done chest in a while. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try it. There we go. Cool shirt, thank you. Can you eat the shirt? No. Back in time. So this is specifically Spirit Track Link, and the only reason I know that is because it's written on the tag on the back.
Suspicious.
You want to see Chaos versus me juggle? Using juggle off Popeye's weapon of choice, Chaos can use V-Buck puppies. How do you juggle V-Buck puppies? Thank you for the bits, but don't use your bits. See, Chaos is just making puppies do his dirty work. And after Panic's punishment, we have the mashed caterpillar. And the splayed piggy. The names of those eerie-sounding punishments came to my mind. I screamed and struggled with all my might, but it was too late. I was shoved into the back seat of the car. Why couldn't they just let me go? Simple. They didn't want me talking about them to anybody. The staff were yelling and screaming while chasing me, but once we were in the car, they were silent. Like the Grim Reaper had come to get me. Whether I liked it or not, I had to come to terms with the fact that my luck had run out. But I'd called Takano-sensei, so I knew he would come to get me. And I knew I was going to sneeze. Please don't refer to him as the Pimpy. I didn't know when that would be, but I knew it would happen someday. If I wanted to live, I'd be saved if I lived. I couldn't even imagine the kind of punishment that was waiting for me. But even so, I said to myself, I have to live. I'd already found the light at the end of the tunnel. Chat seems to be divided. Do I have pens? I might have pens over here. Let me see. Do I have red? There you go. Except it's so small, it just keeps like sliding. There we go. All I had to do was endure until I reached it. Yeah, it doesn't really work. These small ones, they don't work as well. Would an actual pen work better? Yeah, the actual pens do work better. I don't know why. I think these ones work better because you can actually like use the pen cap to clip onto your beard, which just gives it a little bit more sturdiness. Car stopped. We'd arrived at the front gate of the orphanage. There are improvements. 2 staff members grabbed my shoulders so I wouldn't run. My shoulders were very skinny, so it hurt a lot. And I mean, I can give you other tips. So you want to maximize pen-to-hair contact. So in my case, my beard is wider than it is deep. So going in deep, besides the fact that it feels like it's, like punching a hole in my trachea, which isn't fun, it's less secure, because as you can see, just like, if you go horizontally, it's better. And yeah, you can use that to like clip on, and then you can I use it to like just hook on to like the side here? Yeah, that works too. Just hook it onto the side. Yeah. I was scared. Scared of what I would have to go through. We went through the door and I was finally sheltered from the rain. In a way, I wasn't sheltered at all, though. Middle of the night and long past the time to turn all the lights off. The orphanage should have been quiet. But I heard a noise. It was a strange noise. Noise of a shower. Noise of metal objects crashing into each other. Also the staff's yelling and screaming. Chill went down my spine. What could I possibly write down to fully describe this fear? Staff member knocked on the door of the storage room and the door opened. Owen did. An angry roar issued from inside. Sight leapt into my eyes. I couldn't completely take in the bizarre scene before me. 2 staff members were hitting a mat with bamboo swords while yelling violently. There's a mat used in, the one when you do gymnastics. Why was it rolled up like that? Do we just like all sell our souls to each other? The rolled up mat was tied with a string and standing up in the corner. Your team's beard shake? Well, you lost the pen. Goodbye, pen. Pen, get in there. Now, my beard's not what it used to be. I keep it much more trim now. But I used to grow my beard down to... Jeez, it's off screen. That's the longest my beard's ever been, about at Link's hairline. I would say probably more often than not, it was about here. Much bushier, too. Beard mask? I mean... Yeah. You can do this where you can't see what I'm saying. Talk like Papyrus. Papyrus isn't voiced. Chaos formed Team Pimpy by announcing this to all of his friends. If you have other ideas on what I can do with 8 balls, I'm interested. That's Chaos 8-Ball Pimpy. Oh no, what don't I know? Are they voiced in what's it called? Deltarune? I haven't played Deltarune. Oh no, we got the fairy bot mother now. The staff members kept hitting it. Usually words are said to a person. Why were they yelling at a rolled up mat? The way they were hitting it and yelling at it, as if they had gone mad. Okay, I haven't seen Advent's Papyrus voice. Or heard his Papyrus voice. But wait, I could see something sticking out from the top of the rolled up mat. It was... let me see. Whose shoes were those? All of a sudden I froze and couldn't think anymore. One man stood in front of me. The man's pinky finger was wrapped in bandages. My eyes moved upward from his pinky finger and met with his. The beast's eyes met mine, peering with intent to devour me. I squeezed out a voiceless scream. My voice didn't come out, it was more like a goldfish opening and closing its mouth. He stuck his little finger in front of me and roared. I couldn't tell if it was a word or a meaningless shriek. I was certain it was something abusive. Just yelling in the face of a child while you beat their friend in a mat. Yeah, sounds like abuse. Thank you, Samus. I'll take a look at that after. Why did we get, like, screamo music in the background now? I was scared. I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I knew that Dr. Takano would show up to save me. So I had to live and submit myself to the fear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ah! The hand with the bandages grabbed my hair and dragged me along. All I could do was apologize and beg for forgiveness while hoping the beast had even a tiny bit of mercy in him. I was like a broken, apologizing doll. Mad doll that kept muttering apologies until its key wound down. I was their toy, shedding cheers, coughing blood, and apologizing in place of clicking. What was that? I clicked too soon. Of clicking gears. Okay, continuing their metaphor. I could see into the shower room while he dragged me along. The door was open, I heard wailing from the inside. What I saw was very strange. There was a locker on its side and... Oh, are they waterboarding children inside of a locker? Like, you have the locker, you have, like, the slits, like, the water can come in, but you're, like, feeling... You're basically drowning kids. Yeah, what's SFV? When you say this game, do you mean the one here, or do you mean sexy party violence? So, Pium. So, the gist, so this is a visual novel series. We're on the 8th out of 8. The gist of it is, there is a bunch of people who go around killing kids and making them go crazy, and they've just sort of, like, uncovered this truth, and they have the power of a god who lets them, like, rewind time to redo it over and over again. And this is the backstory of the villain. The villain is the child being dragged across by the hair, watching them waterboard their friends and beat them with a sword while they're tied up in a mat. No problem. That's a very, very summarized version of a game where we've put in probably 100 hours into it at this point. A locker was taking a shower, sideways. I'd never even imagined anything like it before. The locker was taking a cold shower while 2 staff members hit it with bamboo swords. So, Deadbeard, there was a version of this game, at least in the anime and the manga version, where it was a parody of the original, but instead of people going crazy, they went absolutely like head over heels in love with someone. And the main character, Keiichi, realizes this and tries to get all of the girls to fall in love with him. The girls figure out his plot and instead make all of the men in the village fall in love with him and chase him around. And they're not afraid to, like, tie him up. We don't talk about Season 4 of the anime. Season 1, good. Season 2, amazing. Season 2 finale is what we're playing right now. Season 3 is meh. It's like an arc about Rika and her past. And then Season 4 was... I need to find this and send it to some people. Where if anyone wants, DM me. I will send you the opening to Season 4 of this anime. This show right now, where they're waterboarding children and beating them with sticks. I will send you the opening to Season 4. And you tell me where you think, anywhere in that opening, there will be violence or bad stuff happening to children. That's the one. There was sexiness. There was bondage. I don't know about farts. That explained the metallic noise I heard before. The beast didn't want me to see that. He pulled my hair violently and twisted my neck so I looked in the opposite direction. Then I realized, he didn't do that to stop me from watching that shower. He did it to make me look at something else. I saw a window in a courtyard. Usually it was too dark to see anything, but the lights were on and the courtyard was very bright. Then I saw it. Inside of the hen house, I saw redacted person. What is that? There's 3 people. That hair was Eric. Why would you redact it if you're just going to tell us now? That hair was Eriko's. But why was... Are they bleeping this out? Not because they're redacting people, but they're redacting what they were doing. They have drawn a line. Love can be summed up as when one person says this to another. Gosh dang it, if the 2 of them get married, she'll be his sister wife in more ways than one. Why is that too appropriate? I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to die. I know Dr. Takano is coming to save me. I know he's coming. I was taken to the staff bathroom. It stunk of ammonia. Yes. Okay. Warning, if anyone is going to go and watch the anime, you will see scenes such as a person getting their fingernails ripped off. A child getting stabbed like 63 times in the arm. A man's head getting cleaved in twain. They hit his head top down, so you see like his head split in half like this. People getting their heads bashed in with baseball bats. A girl taking a dagger and like stabbing her own head repeatedly. In contrast, if you receive this as a DM, it means nothing but lust. So my sausage exploded while I was trying to eat. That was fun. The plot of this game can be summarized as, would you rather be right and have the pain or wrong and have the pleasure? Well, it looks like we chose pain. See, the problem is, people treat this anime like it's purely horror, and it's not. They definitely, with the anime, they definitely took it in a direction to have more of that, like, gore jump factor, where it is more of a gore fest, whereas here it's more of a psychological thriller. Who's Space Tentacle Man? But yeah, there's definitely a lot of just like chilling, eerie moments. Did I miss Irish? Yeah, they definitely went for that factor when... Thank you. Thank you. I'm not crazy. Thank you. When really it's not... Like, yes, it's a psychological horror, especially the first three arcs are really... are pretty horrific. 4, 5... 4 is background story. 5 is retelling too, but from the bad person's point of view. No more sexy. Yeah, like Tokyo Ghoul. If you equate dark to be like mature, then sure. I haven't watched Tokyo Ghoul. I've read a good chunk of the manga. It's definitely dark. It definitely has some very dark themes. But no, it's not a horror. I don't know what we just saw, but it doesn't fit in a bathroom. Why was this in the bathroom, I thought? He's not planning to blank me with blank, is he? No, no, no. I don't know what we're saying no to, but it sounds like it's bad. Yeah, like this is the problem, is gory, sure, and I think a lot of times they put it this way to try and get that like, I guess, horror crowd who likes that shock factor or that gore factor or anything like that. But it's not really horror. Kanashi, this is your punishment for breaking the rules, okay? Everyone must follow the rules. If you don't, you get punished. Do you understand? I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. I'll do everything you tell me to do. I promise, I really do. Please spare me. Please spare me from... I hope it's not rape, but I never know. That hurts. No, no, no. No. Goblin Slayer is not dark. Like, Goblin Slayer is not even close. Alright. If my theory is correct, we still won't have any tips. Right? So we'll save and we'll move on from I don't want to know what happening to a girl in a bathroom. Ah, she has a voice now. I presume this is immediately after. Made in Abyss is darker. Is darker than a lot of these things, which is interesting because Made in the Abyss has a very cutesy art style, which doesn't really mesh with that like dark theme, but it has. Did Made in Abyss 2 come out yet? Take care, Sass. I know it's on. Okay, I wasn't sure if it had come out yet and I'd missed it or what. It has some pretty. Is it dark? It made sense to me where you just like it went out of your head. This isn't Tinder. Yeah. Yeah, there's some implications that are pretty strong in it. How long have I been crying? I don't even know how long I've been comforted like this. My grandfather's hand is on my cheek to comfort me. I'm holding his hand lovingly and pressing my cheek against it. Okay, it was a nightmare and now is her slightly older. I don't know if I'd... Okay, for context, what's a 10 on the dark anime scale? My grandfather put his other hand on my head. The warmth of his palms gradually calmed me down. Piles of documents were all around me. It was a mistake to sort through data while lying on a fluffy carpet. I must have fallen asleep. I had a terrible dream. Bro, I watched this really dark anime, bro. Yo, bro, like, how many reps of dark anime did you get in today? Did you skip dark anime day? You don't skip dark anime day. Whatever is 10 times worse than dissecting live children. Having children dissect live children and make them be related. The nicest thing Deadbeard can think of telling us all is this. Please don't call yourself Kevin the Masochist. I've been going to bed late recently. Because of that, I yawn a lot at school. The teacher must have written a note to my grandfather.
おじいちゃんも私に構ってちゃダメ。早く書斎に戻って論文の続きを書くの。
The day for him to present his findings is approaching. Been working so hard, devoting himself to his research. There's unfortunately a limit to what an individual can do. Yes, I don't know what the anime is, but I know the exact scene you're talking about. I have seen this scene. He needs a collaborator in order to go further with his research. He has to explain that his investigation could be the key to solving the mysteries of human behavior, make people understand just how important his work is. This research is about a very complicated subject, so he couldn't seek assistance from just anyone. Someone will be able to help him one day. Believing that, my grandfather earnestly continued his research. I wanted to help him more. All I can do is sort through his data and tidy up his materials. I also assist him around the house so that he can concentrate more on his research. He always tells me how helpful I am, but that isn't enough for me. I'll study hard, get into a good college, learn many things. I can actually be of assistance to his research. Yeah, Made in Abyss, to me, Made in Abyss isn't that... dark. There are dark themes, but I don't think a lot of them are actually shown. I remember there being one near the end where I was like, geez, that's pretty bad. And, but like we said, a lot of the themes are just, like, implied. I'd have to see what else is on the scale. Like, if I could see, like, what's like, considered, like, the definition for a 1 and a 10. Because I don't think Made in Abyss would score too highly. I'm a mediocre student right now. I don't particularly like school, but I will do it. I want to help my grandfather. If his heart were to fail and he couldn't continue his research, I wouldn't hesitate to cut open my chest and offer my heart up for him. If he needs lungs, I'll give him my lungs. If any of his organs fail, I'll give him mine. There's nothing strange about those feelings. They're perfectly normal. Or if he'd found me even a day later, I might not have been alive. Or even if I lived, it would either be without my body intact, or without my mind, or with my mind lost to me. I think for the nail scene, it's more the build-up to it than the actual action itself. Because if you're squeamish, you might want to close your ears for like 30 seconds. They strap your hand into a thing. They insert a nail, like an actual, not fingernail, but like carpentry nail or whatever, under your nail. And there's basically just a lever that moves it up so it pops your nail off, and you have to smash it with your hand, so it's over super quick. It's just the build up to it is the terrifying part. And the fact that you have to do it to yourself. In other words, I'm alive because my grandfather came to save me. If he hadn't rushed to find me, I wouldn't be here. So I won't hesitate to give up my life for him. Moreover, I'd be more than happy to do that. Even though I want to be with him forever, human lives aren't immortal. Like how my parents died, it happens, so suddenly. I haven't seen Wolf's Creek, but if you say it's that way, it probably is. I will never heal from my parents' deaths. Now that I have my grandfather, I'm not sad. However, his existence isn't eternal either. He may disappear all of a sudden for any unexpected reason, just like my parents. That's why I wish to be a part of him, That way, no matter what happens, we'll be together forever. I don't want to be alone ever again. I want to be with my grandfather forever. I want to help him forever.
わかった。じゃあこの資料の整理が終わったらちゃんと寝るんだよ。約束。
約束。
We pinky promised after that. Smiled at each other, and my grandfather went back to his study. The dried up tears are making my cheeks itch. I headed to the bathroom to wash my face and brush my teeth. I looked at my face in the mirror. None of my grandfather's features are recognizable on my face. There's another scene as well where they tie the person, so you're laying down, your arms are strapped in, and then they put a nail through each joint in each of your fingers. That's another lovely scene. Of course they aren't. They're not related. He must have a family too, but I've never heard about them. He doesn't seem to want to talk about that subject, so don't ever ask him about it. I don't care if he has real grandchildren or not. Even if I'm not related to him, I'm the granddaughter of Hifumi Takano. Yeah, it's those specific scenes. Like, there's definitely, I would say, more psychologically horrific about it. But what people remember are, like, those scenes. I want to be more than that. I don't want a parent and child relationship, nor a lover's relationship, nothing like that. I want something more certain that binds our souls, something that even a tragedy, something that not even a tragedy can destroy. I am Miyoko Takano, Fumi Takano's granddaughter. Maybe it should be Mio instead, but my grandfather sometimes calls me. I want to succeed, Fumi's spirit. Since his name counts from 1 to 3, I want to share that 3 and be the 4th in his line. When she says count to 3, his name Hifumi, literally is 1, 2, 3, depending on how you're counting. Today, my name changes. I wrote that new name in the mirror, and apparently Mio means 4. That's fair. Like, there's definitely something just like coming out of left field that you weren't expecting. What a wonderful name for the new me.
Taisa殿、ご無沙汰いたしております。
高野くん。だからもう大差はなしだよ。なしなし。暮れに具合を悪くしたと聞いてから心配してたんだよ。でも元気そうで何より。
My grandfather always told me he doesn't have any friends. He used to tell me everyone died in the war. That's not true. He has one very close friend. This is him. He's an elderly man my grandfather calls Colonel Koizumi. Yeah, kind of. And has anyone played the DDLC DLC? Jeez, that's such a DDLC DLC. Where there's like nothing bad that happens in it. I don't know why they went that route. Like, it's just more backstory, but like, to me it misses what made it. I don't know when exactly they met, but every time they get together, all they talk about is the military and the war. So I guess that's where they met.
今身長は何センチくらいになったんだい？
この間身体検査があったけど 2センチ伸びました。
そうかそうか。育ち盛りはいいのう。いっぱい食べて、いっぱい運動して、いっぱい大きくなるんだよ。いいなあ、高野くんはこんなに可愛いお孫さんに恵まれて。
Mr. Koizumi knows that my grandfather and I aren't related, but he always calls me his granddaughter. That makes me very happy, so I poured a little more black tea in his cup. After I finished serving tea, I left with a bow. I want to stay and listen to them talk, but I guess my grandfather doesn't want me to hear stories of the war, so he always makes me leave. I left before I was told to. Having to leave doesn't mean I need to go to a different room. I just head to the other side of this huge living room instead. Although I'm not right by them, I can sit on the sofa and listen to their conversation. If they need something, I can come help them right away. I try to earn points that way to prove I'm useful. I sat on the sofa away from them and started reading an encyclopedia. It's what every child loves to read, an encyclopedia. While doing that, I tried to listen to their conversation.
それはよかった。教授たちは都合が合えば再来週の日曜日にも早速来たいって言ってくれたよ。
本当ですか？ありがとうございます、小泉さん。
いや、高野くんが書いたレポートがそれだけ興味深かったことの証左だの。かなり関心を持ってくれてね。ノーベル賞ものの研究になるかもしれないと非常に受けが良かった。
ノーベル賞だなんてそんな。いや、お言葉だけでも恐縮です。
Cutesy until it isn't is a good way to put it, yes. My grandfather laughed. Since he laughed so cheerfully, something great must have happened. Mr. Koizumi must have shown the society the essay my grandfather was about to announce and gauge their reactions. Anything key related? Yeah. I would start by saying anything in key, so that's Clanad, Angel Beats, the other ones. Little Busters. Little Busters is very underrated for me. Plastic Memories, Anohana. Let me pull up what else is on my Mal list. For me, Clanad didn't do it, but the after story part 2 was better. Don't jump, don't load things in and jump around. Yeah, the last few episodes of Angel Beats are good. If you liked that and that got to you, Little Buster's ending for me was like the same kind of hit. What else? I went through like a very small phase of that and then like not anymore, so I'm not seeing anything else. Anything else? Canon was not that good of a key one. Does Kokoro Connect? Kokoro Connect, maybe? I feel it was on the lower end of, like, those kinds of ones. Oh, there's Maiden Abyss. stuff. Questionable life choices. I'm glad you're just satisfied to sit here and let me just read through my list. Depending on who you are, your lie in April, maybe. I don't think it would, but I could see it hitting that way with certain people. Tokyo magnitude 8, 8.0, maybe. Yeah, that's probably all I can provide. Yes, there. Fuko. Fuko is the one that you're talking about. Which one is similar? I have not watched Violet Evergarden. Oh yes, the Tokyo. Okay, premise for Tokyo Magnitude is, they tried to simulate scientifically what would Tokyo look like in like the 1 week following a magnitude 8.0 earthquake centered on Tokyo, and it follows a pair of kids who are separated from their family because they like went out on a trip together and trying to make their way to find their family. That means they recognize the value of my grandfather's research. That makes me happy too. Tokyo Mag was one I got recommended. I was just in someone's Twitch channel and they just asked everyone, "What's your favorite anime?" And someone came up with Tokyo Mag 8. And so I was like, okay, if like, and it was like someone who had clearly watched a bunch of anime. I'm like, okay, if this person says it's the best anime they've ever seen, it's worth like looking into. And it's a fairly solid anime. I think ironically I gave it an 8.0 out of 10.
ひょっとすると私もすでに感染しているかもしれませんな。でもひなみ沢症候群は普通に生活する分には決して危険な病気ではないのです。村人たちがお社様信仰を作り出し、厳しい戒律で自らを縛った頃はかなり危険な病気だったかもしれない。でも時間とともにそれは薄まり、今ではよっぽどのことがない限り発症することはないようです。
Yeah, I don't have much time for anime anymore. The ones that I've been watching right now, I've been watching Cells at Work with my wife. And then what's that one? What's that one called? I have my mal open, so this should be simple to find. Saint Onisan, which is it's if Buddha and Jesus lived in an apartment together.
あれだけの発症例があったのに。
ひなみ沢症候群の発症には特に精神の状態が重要なのです。普通に心穏やかに生活している分には何にも悪さをしない病気なのです。
戦争という異常な状況下で精神が追い詰められた時のみ発症する。
そうです。なーに恐れることなどないのですよ。初期の自覚症状はうつ状態に似た疑心暗鬼。それを自覚したら 高野式呼吸法などにより心身のリラックスを図り、かつ9時間以上の睡眠を1週間以上とる。
I've always found it hard to get into those longer anime. Just, I've never been one for keeping up with it or starting one like that. Like, I think when I was looking through my list, probably the longest one I've watched by itself is Ranma 1/2. Shokugeki, Food Wars, I've watched all of. Yeah, like, see, anything that's like that, I'm just like, no. Like, I've tried watching a bunch of ones like that, and I think Naruto's the one I got furthest in. I only got like 10 episodes in or something, and I was like, nah, not for me.
これで発症など未然に防げてしまうのです。実際、私の指導下にあったひなみ沢出身兵士は一人も開始しませんでしたぞ。
As he talks, grandfather starts demonstrating the Takano breathing method and a bizarre exercise technique. According to him, this technique relaxes the body and lets blood and lymphatic fluid flow smoothly. As a result, you relax emotionally, too. But the movements involved in the technique are so weird, I had to look away because my grandfather looks so silly. That was the one thing about his research that I felt bad about. Oh, grandfather asked me to do this exercise, too. I don't want to make him sad, so I do it when instructed.
ならばいいんだがね。研究対象が元で死に至ってる医学者は過去にもたくさんいる。君も気をつけての。
だが、研究に準じた彼らの偉業は死後も揺るがない。研究者としては本懐でしたでしょうな。
Grandfather tells me about Hideo Noguchi often. He was born as the son of a poor farmer, but he studied hard and became a doctor. However, he was mistreated because of his background, so he left Japan. He moved to the United States. There he made many accomplishments as a researcher. He discovered a vaccine for yellow fever. Grandfather's background is somewhat similar to his, so he often said that of all researchers, he admired him the most. Hideo Noguchi died in North Africa. They discovered a vaccine for yellow fever. He heard it wasn't effective on yellow fever in North Africa. He went there to research it, came down with the disease, and died. A researcher losing his life for his research. See, I don't have time to get to episode 20. It takes me like a year now to like finish one anime. Sometimes that is a test of a researcher's courage. In that sense, grandfather is very brave to visit Hinamizawa himself to gather information. He himself says he may already be infected, although my grandfather estimates from ancient texts that the Hinamizawa syndrome was only a menace centuries ago. Now it's no different from the usual bacteria that shares symbiosis with humans. Many people became ill with the disease during the war. That was because they were in an extremely abnormal situation. In today's peaceful environment, it's almost impossible for a person to develop symptoms. He sounds very optimistic, but he never brought me with him to Hinamizawa, so maybe he isn't as optimistic as all that. However, since I live with him, there's a possibility that I'm already infected as well. But I'm not worried at all, because my grandfather has taught me that as long as I maintain myself physically and emotionally, I won't develop any symptoms.
Suspicious.
Hiro says, "Oh look," and then there's a bot. Hiro, what have you done? Why have you brought this upon us, Hiro? Sure, it was nothing. I saw that suspicious. Gifting subs. I know all about the horrible terminal symptoms of Hinamizawa syndrome, but I'm not overly fearful of them. Grandfather is enjoying his conversation with Mr. Koizumi. That's understandable. Mr. Koizumi told him some people showed great interest in his report. They even want to come over on Sunday, the week after next, to meet and talk with Tim directly. With the rapid advance of modern medicine, unexplored frontiers are steadily dwindling. Was it possible the Hinamizawa syndrome my grandfather discovered might be a new continent in the field? It will be decided in 2 weeks. Sounds like there will be more than one person coming. Also sounds like they're all important people in the society. They're all rich and famous, yet they aren't satisfied with just that. They want to be involved in something that's worth an international reward. This is a chance to gain assistance and sponsorship at the same time. I see we're up to 46,000 on the randomizer run. So, almost complete. It hasn't come back up this month for the 4th time.
本当にありがとうございます。
それは無事賛同者を集められてからにしましょう。その折にはぜひ秘蔵のワインを開けて乾杯といきましょうの。
That was the last of their conversation. My grandfather kept his head bowed until Mr. Koizumi was gone. It sounded like he set up this great chance for my grandfather. So I bowed my head just like him.
ようやくチャンスが巡ってきたよ。私のレポートに関心を持ってくれる人が現れたのだ。
聞いてたよ。これでおじいちゃんの研究に協力してくれる人やお金を出してくれる人が現れるんだね。
まだそうと決まったわけじゃないさ。
Although he didn't want to admit it, he had a good feeling about it. The research he conducted all alone was finally about to gain recognition.
来週の日曜日なの？
忙しくなるぞ。プレゼンテーションで第一印象のすべてが決まる。資料を読みやすく作り直したり、いや、人前できちんと説明できるよう少し練習をした方がいいかもしれない。とにかく手落ちがないようにしっかりやらないとな。
資料の作り直しは大事だね。おじいちゃんの字は読みにくいから少し大きめに書いた方がいいと思う。
とにかく忙しくなるぞ。再来週か。うかうかしていたらあっという間だ。
そうだね。私もお手伝いするよ。ホルマリンの容器とかのホコリも拭き取らないとね。あと丸まった資料の反りを直さないと。絨毯の下に敷いて一晩も置いたら治るかな。
やらなければならないことは山ほどだな。ミオ、手伝ってくれるかい？
もちろん。学校休んでお手伝いする。
それはいかん。
We laughed together, thrust our fists in the air, and motivated ourselves to work hard towards the week after next. Since that day, my grandfather spent more time in his study. It's not easy to create a report that you're going to show other people. Copying machines hadn't been invented back then, so everything had to be handwritten. He knows it's somewhere, but he just can't remember where he put the data he needs. For me, I have to make sure I have enough guest cups to serve tea, so I'm counting them. Do I have enough tea leaves? Maybe I should get something to go with tea. My grandfather knows nothing about these things. A whole list of chores to do. Need to clean the windows so the room will be bright. What else? The 2 weeks pass quickly while we busy ourselves getting things done. What a wonderful 2 weeks it is. I finally feel that I'm actually doing something to help my grandfather with his research. I hope the day of the meeting will be a memorable one for my grandfather. I hope the day will be a beautiful and clear one. Just as I wish the day is beautiful. Evening. My grandfather, having dressed formally, paced around his study nervously. I'm also in a beautiful dress. I've only worn it once before, at my piano recital. But I'm not nervous like my grandfather. His silly nervousness actually relaxes me. Are they here yet? Grandfather looked out the window. And a black car stopped in front of the gate. Back then, a car was a luxury item. Don't think I even had one classmate whose family owned a car. It only makes sense that the men coming out of the car look respectable. Grandfather and I ran out to welcome them.
高野と申します。今日は本当にようこそ。
お召し物をお預かりします。
I greeted them and filled the role we decided ahead of time. Though my being relaxed by my grandfather's silliness ended at that point. Both my grandfather and I were stiff with anxiety as we greeted them now the moment was here.
はじめまして先生。そしてはじめましてお嬢さん。いえ、お孫さんですかな？
孫です。みよ、ご挨拶なさい。
はじめまして。高野美代と申します。
賢そうな子ですね。本日は小泉先生の代理で参りました。小泉先生は急な用事が入ってしまい、本日は出席をすることができなくなってしまいました。そのことを大変残念がっておりました。
そうですか。それは残念です。
The person who set everything up isn't here. My grandfather even had his treasured wine ready, just as they promised 2 weeks
皆さ
ago.
ん、ご紹介いたします。こちらは高野一二三先生です。高野先生はかつて軍部の貿易研究所におられ、伝染病予防分野の第一人者として活躍されておりました。
よろしく。
はじめまして。
お邪魔いたします。
The men are even older than my grandfather. They take off their hats one at a time to greet him. Their beards, expensive-looking canes, and glasses tell me that they are very high up in society. Grandfather bows to each one of
それで
them.
は皆さん、どうぞ書斎へ。誇り臭い場所で大変恐縮です。どうぞこちらへ。みよ、皆さんにお茶の準備を。
はい。
I wasn't nervous at all earlier, but now I think I'm the most nervous one. I'm not the one making the presentation, and I'm not the one being evaluated, so it's ridiculous that I'm feeling so nervous. I don't know if I should use that as my excuse. I was so nervous that I knocked over the thermos I had filled to the brim with hot water and ruined the black tea I'd chosen specifically for this day. I apologized to my grandfather and started to boil water again. I just need enough for the guests. By the time I had cups of tea and cookies ready, my grandfather's presentation was at its key part.
血管もしくはリンパ管を破って脊髄へ侵入し、髄液を通って脳内に至るものと思われます。また死後の解剖結果、脳炎を起こしたものを複数件確認しています。類似の症状をもたらすウイルスは過去の事例を紐解いても数種類あり、その中でも代表的なものは
Grandfather said, walking between samples and formalin jars and pointing to several as he gave his explanation. There are over 100 formalin jars in here with parts of brains in them. They were all very dusty, so I spent a few days cleaning them. Rather proud to see the sparkling jars all lined up like
ただ
this.
し、これらのウイルスが引き起こす症状は多岐にわたります。
それが喉を自らかきむしる自傷行為だとおっしゃるのですね。
さようです。これについては死亡直前を知る兵士たちの目撃情報から分かっています。この自傷行為はこれまでに知られてきたどのような病状にもありません。ひなみ沢症候群独自のものです。また末期患者にしか見られない行為であることから、これは一部の感染症に見られるのと同じエクソダスであると考えられます。感染者の体内で十分に成長し、幼虫を繁殖させた後、ウイルスは体外へ脱出し、次なる感染者を探すのです。
では、その血液にはウイルスもしくは陽性が満たされているわけであり、貿易の知識のない現地の兵士がそれに触れていたならば、彼らも感染していた可能性があるわけです。にもかかわらず、ひなみ沢出身者以外の兵士に感染例がないことをどうお考えですか？
これについては潜伏期間その他を疑ったのですが、ひなみ沢という地域だけに限定していることから考え、現地の特殊な気候その他があると考えられます。また辞書で詳しく取り上げておりますが、ひなみ沢の古い土着の信仰から考え、
ありえないですよ、高野先生。ウイルスに社会性があるなど聞いたこともない。
いえ、ですからこれこそがひなみ沢症候群の画期的な発見の一つでありまして。
The elderly gentleman mumbled to each other while pointing at the data. I finally realized things aren't going too well.
高野先生のご考説を賜りながら先の資料を拝見させていただきました。まず申し上げて、脳内に潜伏したウイルスが人間の思想をコントロールするなど全くもってありえないことです。人間の思考は極めて高度な神の芸術ともいえる脳で作られます。また思想というものは人間の思考の中でも非常に上位のものであり、現在の地球上においては人間にのみ許された高度な能力です。それに介在するウイルスがいるなど考えられませんよ。
同感です。思想とはつまり個より全体を優先した考え方とも言えます。つまり社会性を維持する最前提条件なわけですな。それが遺伝子を残すこと以上の欲求を持たないウイルスごときに宿るわけがない。生物学的にも言ってウイルス性の微細な生命体に社会性、新社会性が発見されたことは一度たりともありません。
しかし脳内の生命体が宿主の行動に干渉するケースは非常に多く報告されており、
高野先生は一つ誤解をされていますな。ウイルスが宿主の行動を支配する原理は常に生殖繁殖のためという極めて原始的理念に基づくものだけです。
ハリガネムシに寄生されたバッタの受水自殺がいい例ですな。ハリガネムシは十分に成長すると水生となります。その際、宿主であるバッタを水辺へ誘導して溺死させ、その体内から水中へ脱出する。
その通りです。私はひなみ沢症候群における自殺的な喉のかきむしりもそれに当たると考えまして。
そうです。すべてのウイルスの目的は繁殖のため。そんな存在が神の芸術ともいえる脳に潜伏し、いやいや、潜伏すること自体は別におかしいことではない。寄生し人間の思想に影響を及ぼすなんて、はっきり申し上げて妄言です。いや、危険思想と言ってもいい。
ひなみ沢という村が閉鎖的文化から独自の信仰を生み出したこと自体はそう不思議には思いません。日本各地に散見するよくあるケースです。だとしたら日本中のそれらの文化は全てウイルスによるものなのですか？それらは文化的なものであって、ひなみ沢の件に限ってはウイルスによるもの。その区別をどう立証されたのですか？
いえ、ですから現地で死亡したひなみ沢出身兵士の解剖の結果からそうだと信じるに足る様々な。
失礼だが高野先生、信じるに足る臨床データだと語るには少々先生の収集されたケースは少なすぎます。しかもご自身で言われたように戦場という異常な状況下の話です。
いえ、ですから次の章で説明しますように、ひなみ沢症候群は疑心暗鬼と緊張、ストレスなどによる微妙なバランスが崩壊した時に、
喉をかきむしるという特徴的かつ異常な自傷行為が複数件あったならば、何かの共通性があるに違いないと疑われるのもユニークかとは思います。ですが、だからこそ当てにならないのですよ。戦地という異常な状況下で たまたまレアなケースが重なっただけのことなんです。高野先生は重なった偶然を見てゲシュタルト的な構成主義にとらわれ、法則性を見つけたように錯覚してしまったのではないかと考えます。
そうでないことを証明するには、南沢症候群の感染者に対する膨大な臨床データが必要です。ですが、倫理的に考えてこりゃ立証は不可能でしょう。
出身者がたたりだと了解する行為はどちらかというと文化依存症候群の範疇です。それに対しウイルスによる意識支配を重ねられることは、失礼だが高野先生はユニークな南沢の信仰に心酔し、その結果ご自身が文化依存症候群に取り込まれてしまっているのではないかと考えます。いえいえ、神秘的分野を研究する人間にはよくあり得ることですよ。我々も日々気をつけています。
The more they talk, the paler my grandfather's face becomes. I was just stunned myself. Never heard of parasites like that. That's impossible. It was just a coincidence there isn't enough data. Talk goes on, and every time my grandfather says something, they dismiss it like that. Before I knew it, my grandfather could only hold his silence before their criticisms.
ただ、どんな発見も最初は理解されないものです。高野先生の研究もそのうちの一つでないかと考えます。当時、どんなにバカバカしいと思われていた研究でも、その後、真実が解き明かされ、
私は皆さんに比べれば素人です。個人の研究家に過ぎず、一流大の出でもなければ学閥にも属していません。もちろん権威や研究所へのコネクションもありません。故に個人の研究ではこの程度のことまでしか調べられないのです。果たして南沢症候群が真実なのか、それとも皆さんがおっしゃられるように私の妄想に過ぎないのか、それを確かめるためにお力添えをいただくことはできませんでしょうか。
もちろん、これが世紀の大発見になるならば一大センセーションを巻き起こすでしょう。何しろ人間の文化や思想は全てナノ単位の脳内生命体の意志によるもので、前頭葉は彼らを住まわせるだけの場所に過ぎないという。
南沢症候群が存在し、その感染者が感染によってそのOyashiro-sama信仰というものに組み込まれることがもし立証できたなら、地球上に存在する全ての宗教、いや文化国境さえもウイルスで説明できるかもしれないんですからな。
その話の壮大さはとてもユニークです。高野先生は我々のような人間にひっそりと論文を読ませるより、それで本を書かれて一般大衆に発表された方がよろしいでしょうな。
Grandfather looks at the ground, his fists trembling a little. Their words were far too cruel. I don't know anything about academics. I'm just a little girl. I don't know exactly what they're talking about, but Grandfather worked so hard by himself up until today. But to prove his research and delve further into it, he needs sponsors. If those sponsors are casting him away, calling his research a delusion, it's outrageous. Ask him which came first, the chicken or the egg. Besides, if his research was at the level those cheeky men wanted to see, he wouldn't need their help. They're saying they can't help him unless they see some results that are beyond the level of private research. In any field, doesn't research always start out with just a little idea? If you can prove its existence beforehand, then what's the point of researching it to begin with? A wild idea can't be the subject of research. How did we gain any knowledge at all? But never mind that. Mr. Koizumi came 2 weeks ago. Didn't he say that they were really interested in his research? What's going on? This is the complete opposite of what he said.
はい、非常に興味深い研究だ
Thank
と
you for
思
the
ってお
hydrate.
ります。脳はまだまだ未知の領域です。
この高野氏の論文は非常にユニークです。特に 優生学的見地からは無視できないものが感じられます。
人は神の子などでは断じてない。人も進化の洗礼を受けた動物に過ぎません。ならばダーウィンに従い、各地の環境に応じて進化には差が出てくる。つまり人類にはすでに優劣があるのです。国家としていかに優秀な血統を守り、より良い遺伝子を未来に残せるか、これを国策として掲げ研究せねば、来世紀において人類は致命的な序列を与えられることになるでしょう。
高野氏の研究は単なる感染症の域を超えるだけのポテンシャルを秘めていると言えるでしょうな。
次世代に残すべきでない劣悪な人間が。
Jeez, that's a statement.
もし遺伝子によるものでなく感染症によるものであると解明できたなら、外科的手段によって構成が可能だということになる。結果、我が国は未来に素晴らしい人間を残すことができるでしょう。優生学的見地から高野氏の研究は早急に取り組まれるべきです。
これは世紀の大発見になる可能性がありますぞ。もし感染症疾患と個人の資質の因果関係が立証できれば、ノーベル賞どころでは済まんでしょうな。
小泉先生、この度の貴重な機会に深く感謝いたします。
高野くんは昔から一途で熱心な男での。だが人付き合いが下手くそでな。ずっと一人で研究してきたのだ。だが一人でできる限界を迎え、ようやく人に助けを求めることを覚えたんだな。どうか先生方、高野くんの話に耳を傾けてやってください。
Well, they listened. They just mocked after they listened.
恐れ多いですよ先生。むしろこの度のご縁にこちらが感謝したいくらいです。
私どもとしてはもう協力させていただくことは前提です。むしろ学会での縄張り調整の方が今後の急務ですな。
このようなユニークな研究を世界に先駆けて研究できるとは。この年になってこのような貴重な幸運に恵まれたのを感謝したいです。
There was a knock on the door. The sliding door opened and the owner peeked
失
in.
礼いたします。お客様がお見えになっておりますが、お通ししてよろしいでしょうか。
客？はて、どちら様ですかのう。
The owner whispered in Koizumi's ear and his face turned pale all of a sudden.
お通ししてください。いやいやいや、私もお迎えに上がります。
Koizumi stood up. 2 pairs of footsteps reached the door.
先生、このようなところへお越しいただけるとは。
小泉君、ご無沙汰だな。今日はどうしても君にしておきたい話があってな。
このようなところへお越しいただけるとは。はい、体温ある先生の話とあっては何でもおっしゃってください。
The old man known as Koizumi was not someone whose status could be taken lightly. Although he had retired, he was still powerful enough to wield great influence as a fixer. From his meek attitude, it was easy to figure out what kind of person this man must be. The old man held onto his bodyguard's shoulder as he walked. He had an expensive-looking cane in his other hand. He couldn't even walk on his own because of his age, but his intense commanding presence hadn't declined one bit.
君の友人の研究な。あれ、やめさせなさい。
は？と申しますと。
小泉君、ひなみ沢症候群は墓場まで持ってかなきゃならん。あれに手をつけちゃならねえんだ。あれを調べるとな、藪をつついて蛇を出すかもしれん。しかも太くてでかい蛇をな。君がこのままガブリとやられるのを黙って見とるには忍びないのでな。ちょいと君の小耳に入れてやろうと思って
って今日は来たんだ。それの先生方にはお待ちいただいて。どうだ、ちょいと向こうの部屋でわしと飲まんか。
はい、お供させていただきます。
Uzumi realized that he was being pressured. He didn't know which direction it was coming from, but clearly some authorities weren't comfortable with the research on Hinamizawa syndrome and were trying to stop him from supporting it.
小泉君、分かっているかね？この研究はパンドラの箱だということ。
Okay, so this is what he described before, where the higher-ups wanted to stop it because Japan would basically have to admit blame for starting the Marco Polo incident during World War II.
全くの世まい事ですな。本日私どもがお邪魔したのは、資料になかったそれ以上の客観的何かが開示されるかもしれないことを期待したからです。本来ならば本日お邪魔するにも値しない内容だったのを、小泉先生たっての願いということで義理を尽くさせていただいたわけです。
徒労ではありましたが、来て正解でした。あなたに適切なアドバイスをすることができるのですから。あなたは余生をこんなことに費やされるくらいなら、盆栽でも始めなさい。いいですぞ、盆栽は。
同感です。こんな書斎にホルマリンの瓶を並べていても不健康なだけですな。
しかし実にユニークな内容でした。あなたさえよければ出版社の社長を紹介しますよ。大衆にはこのくらいの刺激があった方がウケるでしょうからな。
Aren't even trying to hide their hostility. They're laughing at my grandfather, denouncing him and saying things that denigrate not only his research but his personality as well. They are simply trying to provoke him. Any response would just be giving them what they want. Even in this very moment, Grandfather tried to remain a noble researcher and a proud human being. He's no longer trembling. On the contrary, he apologized to them for taking up their time. He told them he had no intention of keeping them any longer.
この論文はお返ししますよ。もっとも、これを論文と呼んでいいなら、学会もどれだけ気楽なことか。
One of the elderly gentlemen tossed it back to him. Grandfather couldn't catch it in time. The article he worked so hard on fell on the floor and the paper scattered all over the carpet. The elderly gentleman left the study without even apologizing for it. Everyone else followed suit. They laughed. They trod all over my grandfather's article. It looked like Grandfather's expression didn't change, but I could see it warping. I could see the wall of research Grandfather bore crunching and warping sadly. I jumped, grabbed onto the elderly gentleman's leg. I don't hate him. Or asked if I hate him or not, the answer would be yes, but that's not the point here. What I really can't stand is this footstepping all over my grandfather's article. I just want to move the foot that's standing on his papers. But the foot doesn't move, no matter how hard I push or pull, as if it's rooted to the floor. I felt someone grabbing me from behind. It was my grandfather. We found the uncle's spawn point. And yes, it would be his spawn. My screams don't mean a thing to them. They completely ignored my screams. They continued to step on the papers and left the study. Only my grandfather and I remain in there now. My grandfather is still grabbing the back of my collar. I don't have any words left to say, only cries. My grandfather is determined not to show any emotion. Collar? Yes. My grandfather's determined not to show any emotion. He doesn't even open his mouth. So I have to cry for him. Just then, my grandfather slaps me in the face. That startled me. I'm crying for him, so why did he slap me? Then I understand. Grandfather is the one who wants to cry, but he's enduring, so I shouldn't cry either. I wipe my eyes with my runny nose, and I silently turn my eyes to the papers on the carpet, just like my grandfather. I don't understand why he's apologizing. I thought he was going to complain about their rudeness. How courageous he is. Even after that disaster, he's still concerned about me. I shook my head and put my hands on the floor. I tried to gather up the papers, but then they began to fall. My tears are overflowing again, blurring the ink on the papers. These are all handwritten by Grandfather. He was so happy that there was finally someone who understood his research. He was so happy he spent all night writing these. They stepped on them. Might as well have stepped on my grandfather's very soul. I don't know if he's saying that to me or to himself. Grandfather says that all the time, but I know the truth. Not only plays with people's fate, he doesn't save anyone out of goodwill. That's why he let this happen to my grandfather, even though he worked so hard and so humbly until today. That's why he let such a horrible thing happen to me when I was still an innocent little girl. Grandfather keeps repeating himself, but I know the truth. God exists. The existence Grandfather believes in is real. There's no mercy to be found in God. He delivers unreasonable fates and makes us call it a challenge. I can't tell my grandfather that, of course. Ask God once more like I did the day of the thunderstorm. Why? Why can't you give my grandfather's effort and hard work the recognition it deserves? Grandfather told me he'll gather up the papers, so I should put away the teacups. I nodded silently and put the teacups that they hadn't even been touched into the serving cart. As I pushed it out of the study, Grandfather told me. He told me to close the door after I leave. I always close the door when I leave. He doesn't need to remind me. That's what he wants, so without saying anything, I closed the door. As I walked away from the study, I heard my grandfather sobbing. Tears filled my eyes once more. Sadness and disappointment. I almost feel angry with myself for not being able to do anything for him. And I felt a cool breeze on my wet cheeks. The breeze was blowing in from a cracked open window. The curtain was flapping gently in that breeze. I heard the cry of the higurashi. I listened to them, I calmed down gradually. If I can ease Grandfather's pain by crying, I'll cry in his place, but that won't help. On the contrary, he started to cry because I did. I'm being useless here. I remember that day. I remember the reason why I'm alive now. If he hadn't come and saved me, I spent the last days of my life lying in the corner of the bathroom as a human-shaped piece of meat. Grandfather saved me, gave me back my rights. The right to walk, the right to stand up, the right to wear clothes, the right to eat cheese, the right to speak, the right to think. In other words, the right to live as a human being. Grandfather took action right after he got the phone call from me. Found my house. Found out which orphanage I was sent to. After struggling through sloppy filed records at the public office, then he saved me. You two are a human-shaped piece of meat. Is Chaos raising puppies for their meat? Of course, he was working on his research then. He spent his precious research time on saving me, a perfect stranger. Vowed that if his heart ever failed, I'd rip my heart out and give it to him. Of course, his heart is fine. He doesn't need a heart. He needs something that's equally important. That's something only I can give him in this whole world. I clenched my fists, held them so tightly that my nails left marks. I now know what I'm supposed to do with this new life as Mio Takano. I finally know. I know the reason why the new me was born. I know the purpose of Mio Takano.
それは小さな胸に宿る大きな決意。人の命がもしも地球より重いなら、私の小さな決意は地球よりも重い。
This is the moment that starts her down the path where she murders 2,000 people. I thought I knew of my grandfather's greatness. I actually didn't know the half of it. For me to be able to really help him, I have to reach his level. All my lessons lead back to my grandfather. There wasn't a single subject I could ignore. Right now, studying hard is what I can do for him.
教師生活をして長いが、君ほどたゆみなく勉学に勤しんできた生徒は見たことがない。かといって決して勉強のみに視野が狭くなることなく、社交性も身につけ、多くの友人を作った。
勤勉なのは勉強することでしか至れない。私の社交性をおろそかにしないのは、孤独な天才があまりに無力であることを知っているからです。
It's not
私
enough.
はまだまだ自分の望む姿に至れていないんです。大学に入るのなんて私にとって単なる経過に過ぎない。
She's now in high school.
そこで何が学べるかなんです。
Not even close. Not even close to being able to help my grandfather.
先生は君を教え子に持てたことを誇りに思う。私立大でも国立大の医学部でも好きに選びなさい。今の君にとって倍率など何の意味もない。君にとって学ぶに値する学校であるかどうかだけが大事だ。
願いを成就し、望む未来を紡ぐ力。紡がれる糸の強さ、意志の強さ。気高く強き願いは必ず現実となる。
Do I have what I need to be able to truly understand Hinamizawa syndrome and help grandfather in his research? I don't need compromises or excuses. The heights I seek are lofty, precipitous. This isn't enough, not even close. My classmates are such idiots, acting as if they're winners in life just because they entered this school. A college is simply a place to learn what I need to know. If this self-proclaimed best school isn't worth my time, I'm not interested.
まさか才女のあなたが伝染病圏に来られるとは思いませんでした。あなたほどの方なら引っ張りだこだったでしょうに。てっきりもっと見栄えのいい研究に関心を寄せられると思っていました。
私が学びたいこと、研究したいことが私は今日ここで学べる資格を得るために勉学に勤しんできました。
そんなことはありませんよ。入学試験を第1位で突破したあなたを拒むはずもありません。ようこそ伝染病圏へ。嫌われがちな学問でね。研究者はまだまだ少ない。だから他の学問に比べて未知の分野が多いのです。
That's quite true. Study of parasites is a mysterious world, or rather, an ignorant one. An ignorant world where the preconception that parasites can't possibly control humans pervades. Those ignorant people laughed at grandfather and stepped all over his article.
伝染病の世界にはまだまだ解き明かされていない未知があります。私はそれを解くために、それを解こうとする人の力になるためにここまでやってきたのです。実現の約束された願いはもはや願いとは呼ばない。それはつまり もはや運命。私が紡ぐのは運命。運命は個人だけじゃなく、人を、世界を支配する絶対の力。
Learning isn't enough for me. To be able to research with my grandfather. And so, I don't ignore the means to gain the help my grandfather couldn't get. Grandfather's research isn't complete just when it's finished being written on a desk. I need the help of plenty of people to present it to the world, so his great work will be praised by many.
そうです。当会は大学院の首席卒業生のみに入会資格を与えている同窓会組織です。毎年7人の入会者のみしか認めておりませんので、一般的な同窓会組織と比べると小規模ですが、そのような会へお誘いいただき、とても光栄です。私ごときでよろしければ、ぜひ末席を賜れればと思います。いえいえ、あなたほどの実績と経歴をお持ちの方を末席など、先輩方もあなたを歓迎されるでしょう。会の名簿には現役大臣、高級官僚、大企業の社長や顧問などが名を連ねています。彼らはあなたを必要とし、あなたが必要とする協力を与えるでしょう。小泉先生、この会におられたのですね。私の祖父の親友だった方です。まさかここでまたご縁があるとは。そうでしたか。きっと小泉先生もあなたの入会を歓迎されることでしょ
An isolated genius is a useless one. People live in a society. Society is made up of connections between people. Nobody can ignore that. I do my best as an individual to gain the power that can't be achieved as a mere individual. I have to rely on my connections in society. It's all for one purpose. My only wish is Mio Takano. Yes, I can't spare any effort.
私の絶対の意志が絶対の未来を紡ぎ出す。誰にも邪魔できない。誰にも覆せない。サイコロの1なんて認めない。けなげな努力が偶然の事故だけで打ち消されるなんて認めない。全てのサイコロを6にしてやる。サイコロを神になんか委ねない。不運になんか委ねない。神に祈るのは自らに努力を尽くさぬ愚か者のすることだ。私は神などに委ねない。全ての結果は私が紡ぎ出す。私の強固な意志が神にさえ介在できない絶対の未来を作り出す。それは祖父が教えてくれた神になる方法とは違う。それは生きながらにして神に至る方法。それに気づいた時、私はようやく解放される。それは両親を失った時の悲しい記憶、そして論文を踏みにじられた時に見せた。そう、私は神の域を超えるのだ。神の気まぐれなどに負けない存在に。祖父の研究を認めさせてやる。それは私が望む未来、約束された未来。人々が祖父の論文を奪い合って読み合う。かつてないがしろにされ踏みにじられたその論文をうやうやしく手に取って読むのだ。たとえその日を待たずに祖父に死が訪れたとしても、その程度の運命に私が泣くことなどないのだ。だって祖父はすでに私に教えてくれている。たとえ死んで土中に埋められた身であっても復活できることを。私が祖父の偉業を完成させ、世界中が祖父を称える。その時祖父は復活を遂げ、神となり永遠となる。それは永遠の絆。どんな交通事故でもちぎれない。神がいくらサイコロの1を並べようとも、両親を事故で失った日から私の人生は全てサイコロの1だった。でも私はそれに負けずここまでやってきた。サイコロの目など私は超越する。サイコロの目は私が決める。運命すらも私が決める。 くじけぬ絶対の意志で。
診療所はいつ開くんかいね。クーラーがついてるとええの。来月にゃ診療開始っちゅ書いてあった。つったら若い先生だとええの。
I heard some old ladies talking amongst themselves when I was going up the stairs to the shrine. The Urie clinic is already completed and it's waiting and ready for opening day. State-of-the-art equipment has been delivered, and the research is waiting to begin as well. Urie, too, is standing by in top form. He's almost as passionate as I am about Hinamizawa syndrome. The Mountain Dogs, the counterintelligence unit to support and protect our research, are already stationed at a dummy company somewhere near Okonomiya. They're getting in touch with various public institutions. Everything is going well. The only thing to worry about would be the rumors about the Hinamizawa Dam construction plans. It's a rumor that the Ministry of Construction is pushing through a dam project that will submerge all of Hinamizawa. They're under pressure from several groups. None of my contacts have much influence in the Ministry of Construction, so things aren't going well. Even if applying pressure doesn't work, there are other measures. So either way, it'll come to a deadlock. I'm not being optimistic. I just know that's how it'll end. I will conduct research here in Hinamizawa. I'm going to accomplish that with my absolute will. So even if God rolls a 1 on the die and says that he's going to submerge Hinamizawa, I will not be afraid. I won't entrust my die to God. I'm the one who's going to pick up the die, and I'm going to roll a 6. I didn't come to the shrine to declare war on the god of this place. I came because I know you can get a great view from up here. Walk by the shrine and head to the spot I found last time I visited. The perfect spot for overlooking the entire village. A strong wind reminded me that I'm only at the starting line. There will be a headwind before I reach my goal. I looked over the village without faltering in the wind. Grandfather approached the syndrome from a medical point of view, but he also approached it from a folkloric one as well. The strange belief in this village is proof that the existence of Hinamizawa syndrome was already known of even in ancient times, so it'll be extremely useful to research their history too. My grandfather hadn't been doing research for hundreds of years, of course, but this place had been here for hundreds of years. They've been living with Hinamizawa syndrome for that long. Therefore, the beliefs created in this place and the legend itself can be considered the foremost researchers. It's simply stupid to call them old folk tales or nonsense. I've been researching them slowly, but they're indeed very interesting. I wonder grandfather was intrigued by them. Hinamizawa syndrome has many fascinating sides to it. Just like a kaleidoscope showing infinite light, with ever a slight change in angle. So much fun to trace grandfather's research. Finding the same results as my grandfather reminded me that I'm indeed following his footsteps, which makes me very happy. This shrine is dedicated to Oyashiro-sama, guardian deity of the village. But this god the villagers worship is simply a delusion that was created by the parasites. When I solve their secret and announce it to the world, God of this place will be no more. That's the moment I will take revenge on the one who put me through misery and tested my fate. That's it, isn't it? This isn't just about making my grandfather's dreams come true. It's also about getting revenge for my miserable life. So I'm back to the front of the shrine. An offertory box there. I'm tempted to throw in some coins. But you normally offer coins to ask for mercy. I don't entrust my fate to God, so I don't need to give an offering. Then I unmask him. Until then, Oyashiro-sama is a god. Hey, in that case I'll show respect for now. As a declaration of war, I pulled out a 10-yen coin from my wallet. 10-yen coin I found in the telephone booth changed my life. If I hadn't been there, my life would have ended then.
あの一枚の10円玉に関してだけはあなたに感謝するわ。
I'm not grateful to the god of this shrine, though.
あの程度で私はあなたを許したつもりなんてない。そして私は あなたのご利益なんか期待せず、今後あなたがどんな理不尽な運命を与えようとも、そんなものにはびくともしない。私の理想を勝ち取ってみせる。
Your grandfather will be praised and become a god because of the research I'll do in this place. I'll defeat the god of this village and become an existence above even gods.
私は神という言葉にこだわるようになったのかしらね。祖父がいつも神様を引用した話ばかりするからかしら。
Here, this is the 10 yen coin you gave me before. My debt's paid off now. You just keep clinging to your throne and tormenting people with your trials, while I fight my battles to knock you down from there. So I chucked the 10 yen coin I once borrowed from God into the offertory box. For a moment, I couldn't understand what happened. The 10 yen coin was supposed to fall into the offertory box, but how can I explain this? It's not what happened. I aimed correctly, for certain. You can miss an offertory box anyway. That's not it. It's the 10 yen coin stopped in midair. Got stuck in the spider web. And it bounced back to me and fell by my feet. As though the offertory box had refused the coin. Of course, an offertory box is to respect God. What I did was challenge him. That means this is... I jumped, because I thought I was the only one here. Anyone would jump on finding that there's someone else standing there unexpectedly. How long has she been there? Like she came out from the shrine. A mysterious girl is sitting on the other side of the offering box. She's wearing a shrine maiden uniform, so she must be one of the caretakers here. That's what I thought too. Something else about her. She's not just one of the shrine caretakers, she is the shrine itself. Because the girl is staring into my eyes. No, she's glaring. I smiled back fearlessly. I think she heard my words of challenge to God. She's wearing that expression on her face because of that. The words came out naturally. The girl didn't nod, but I took that as a yes. A contradictory feeling. I'm rejecting the god of this land, denying its very existence. And I don't doubt that this girl is that god. The girl opened her mouth to speak. That's what I say to myself often. I've never said that to anyone or quoted it from anything. Under normal circumstances, I should be surprised to hear this girl say that. But this girl isn't human, so I'm not surprised. I replied to her. Spiteful laughter flowed out of my mouth. The girl's face displayed a strong will of her own. Her expression didn't even change a bit.
すなわち絶対の未来。
それを幾百年を生きる僕たちでなく人の身であるあなたが知るとは。認めますです。あなたは限りなく神に近い場所にいる。
それは光栄ね。
The girl glared at me with her eyes half shut. It was more like she was proclaiming something to me, displaying her own strong willpower.
僕はあなたに負けない。かつて僕たちはどう戦ってもあなたに勝てないと思った。だから僕はあなたに屈した。
Specifically, this is the Hanyu after the last game, coming back, looking back on her life, realizing at this point in time that Takano is here making this challenge, and now offering herself to be part of the game.
でもあの子は気づきましたのです。信じる力が運命を切り開く奇跡を起こすと。
私の強い意志が作り出す運命、あなたの強い意志がそれを打ち破る奇跡を起こすというわけ。道理ね。
As that's the law of this world. Strong will can make a desired future possible.
あなたの意志の強さに負けないのです。
古き神の座に執着するのも大いに結構。あなたの意志が私の意志に勝てるか。神は人を試すが、人が神を試してはならない不条理。だからあえてあなたを試してあげるわ。お前の意志の強さが私の意志の強さに勝てるかどうかを試してごらんなさい。
It's clearly a declaration of war from me to God. This was the beginning of my revenge towards God, who put me through so much misery. And this girl, this God, is accepting my challenge directly.
僕はあなたに比べてあまりに非力だけれども、あなたに比べてあまりにできることが少ないけれど、たとえ僕の意志の強さがあなたに及んだとしても、それぐらいでは覆せないくらいに。
そうね。私は圧倒的な力を得た。その力を得るために今日までどれほどの強い意志を持ち、貴様ごとき小娘では私に指一本触れることもかなわないでしょうね。
Okay, go for it.
分かってる。あなたの強大さは分かってる。それに比べて私や私の仲間たちの力はあまりにか細いかもしれない。
What food are you most concerned to see come in a can? Okay. So, okay, here's how my brain's thinking about it. Canned food is supposed to be something that has a long shelf life that can be preserved. So what's something that would either be horribly horrible if you preserved it, or probably couldn't be preserved very well? So my first thought would be, yeah, I was thinking along that lines, but not bread, but like a fancy dessert. Like if I came over to your house and you're like, Papa, are you ready for a dessert? And you just like pull out a can and like open it and like a blob of tiramisu falls out, that would be pretty concerning. Is that the most concerning? Yeah, bread, I don't, like, it wouldn't be great bread, but you could do it. So yeah, something probably like that that's supposed to be fresh. And right now my thought is like a dessert like that. Just canned water.
でも私は諦めないことを選ぶことができる。
Canned tiramisu. That's my current thought.
三途の河原で永遠に石を積み続けるように。
But also, he said food, and I don't know about you, Chaos, but water's not a food.
決して負けを認めず諦めない。
I think that would be... Frog's legs. Century egg. Well, how else do you keep the century egg for a century? Oh, human meat. There's an easy solution, just human meat. Because now I know you have a factory somewhere that's canning up humans. If your plan is to eat it, then yes.
気が遠くなるほどの長い時間、あなたに屈しないことで意志の強さを示してみせよう。そして河原に石が積み上がった時、私たちはその川を越えることができ
See, it not being Sherbstream also just makes it more concerning.
対等な存在として現れるでしょう。
Are you ever really safe from cannibalism?
その時こそこの長きにわたる運命の戦いに決着がつく。
Canned mustard?
ならば結構かかっておいでなさい。
But like, think.
どちらの思いが強かった方が未来を作る。強かった方の望んだ未来が訪れる。私の未来を一歩も譲らない。
Okay, what is more concerning? A mixture that's thick that shouldn't be, or a mixture that's especially like thin and watery, which shouldn't be?
その未来では祖父の偉業は称えられ神となり、かつて私を不幸にて試すような真似をした神に対して
Canned fresh cream? Like, imagine it comes chunks. So it's basically spoiled milk, and then you put it in a can. And, like, thicken it. Stupid little god. I'll show you. Okay, not just water. It's the water you boiled your hot dogs in, that you then put in a can. There's your water. Just a can of worms? Just a can of like, live worms. Hot dog milk? Well, welcome to 6 hours in when we finally get the title screen. Are we gonna get the... Oh, does this one have an opening video? Opening video? Yeah. No, we do not. That was the intro. 6 hours for this intro. Actually, probably more. I think last stream went 3.5 hours. So 6.5 hours in for the intro. Milk, flour, eggs, water, yeast. Depends on what you're putting in it. Depending on what you're making, you can put water, yeah. Or, sometimes you can skip it. You can skip, like, the water and milk and just do butter. Because what I think a pound cake, the simple pound cake recipe is 1 pound of sugar, 1 pound of flour, 1 pound of butter, I think. You can also replace eggs with bananas. Bananas work well to bind it together. Alright, do we have any tips after that? Still no tips. The problem is if you use bananas, though, then you get the banana flavor, and if that's not what you're looking for. 4 chapters, 6.5 hours. We just hit the intro. Okay. We'll do a little bit more, and then we'll find someone to raid. Yeah, so you can use bananas in that, like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for cakes. If you're using, say, like a pancake or a waffle mix that uses eggs, you can replace it with banana. Now you just have banana pancakes. Same thing. Welcome. Welcome to the world of Higurashi Chapter 8, Matsuribayashi. In this world, you'll be able to recreate the story from Hanyu's point of view. Your objective is to create June 1983 ideal to you. You'll need to collect many different fragments to make that possible. However, Takano's conviction is very strong. To overturn it, you'll need a lot of effort and a lot of fragments. I'll warn you right now, it'll be a slow and painful process. Hanyu went through it for over 100 years, and she even had to stop and give in to fate. Beating Takano's conviction will not be easy. The trial in this world will put you through as much pain as Hanyu had to endure. You may surrender, just like Hanyu did after being emotionally worn down by the constant repetition of the worlds woven by countless fragments. When you feel like surrendering, you can end this game at any time. If you do, the worlds revolving around your friend's fate will be limited to Onikakushi through Minagoroshi. That's, Onikakushi's the first one, and then Minagoroshi is the one we just finished, 7. By forgetting about this world and uninstalling this product, you will finally accept death. Just like Rika did. Your ideal June 1983 can be created by putting together 50 fragments that are scattered across all the worlds. Remember when I said there was a secret ending that involved putting like 50 some odd things together in a specific order? Here it is. Recipes are concerning when they say add eggs, milk, and then there's an author's note saying this. Yeah, no. To connect these fragments together, you'll need the right ones. There are 50 of them, which may be dizzying. It's a very aggressive uninstaller. However, this world isn't that merciless. Ease or pain, there will be a little help for you. When you choose the wrong pieces, your only ally here will give you a sign that it is not yet time to put those fragments together. As long as the sign remains, you won't be able to connect them. You might as well go look for different ones. After you put other fragments together, you might be able to connect the ones that you couldn't put together earlier. When that happens, she'll let you know. Let's put those fragments together, then you'll be able to join the other ones too. If you connect all 50, they'll become one big fragment. There you'll find your ideal June 1983. That's when the long-awaited Matsuribayashi will begin. It's a shield from death. Before you peek at each fragment, why don't you line up all 50 of them first? Most of them require other fragments. There's only a few you can actually look at. Let's try to find those first. See the conditions for connecting the fragments, just point a cursor at them. For anything else, let's find the ones that you can look at without any conditions. This will be an extremely long and difficult trial. Let me tell you again, Honey challenged this for over 100 years and gave up on it. Honey doesn't know the brute force method. You believe in miracles in the same way your friends do. Even if you don't live in the world where they live, if you believe in them, welcome. Welcome to the world of Higurashi Chapter 8 Matsuribayashi. This world you'll be tested to see if you believe in the world that Rika and the others believed in. The miracle only happened when everyone combined their strength. June 1983, created by Takano, was nearly indomitable. It's gathered many people whose powers are beyond the average person to her side, her backers being at the center of national authority. Even if 100 dice are all rolled ones, there wouldn't even be a chance to defeat her. Yes, bread in a can does exist. So does hot dog soup. In other words, a miracle is the only way forward. A miracle happens only when everyone combines their strength, and you are one of them. And I have the power of the internet. Are you ready, kids? I'm more than ready. The key to a long journey is not to pressure yourself too hard. Let's take it at a light pace. I'll work while drinking my usual wine. Shall we begin? We have all the time in this world. I assume that's a picture of bread in a can. What is that? PB&J sandwich in a can, yeah. Creamed possum? Dang it, candy.
Suspicious.
Alright, so... Okay, so... I'm actually gonna have to open up... We'll briefly look at what this looks like. Okay, so... Remember what I said? There's 7 pages of fragments. And there's an incredibly specific order you have to do this in to get the ending. So, I literally have a guide open on my alt screen, which goes something like this. Screen 1. And it just has numbers. So this one is the 21st one we have to click on. This one's the 23rd, 29th, 13th, 11th, 19th, 26th, and so on. So, we'll just do one, just to see how this is. So we go to screen 4, to this one. Oh, and this fragment is required first. That's nice. I have no idea how long these fragments are. So this appears to be near the very start of the dam project. Don't make me put in a first redeem and just see who gets it first. Then why are you awake? See, MDS every time. Probably. The auditorium is filled with angry shouting. Sign at the entrance says, Hinamizawa Dam Construction Explanatory Meeting. Every time the official on the stage tries to say anything, the assistants packed into the room silence him with their shouts. Trying to ignore them, the official continued to explain the pros of the dam. That just further infuriated them. I know, we're up to 49,000? Between the stage and the citizens, there was an open area where a police squad is standing by. If they weren't there, the citizens would jump up onto the stage and start a riot. I'm watching all of this from the back of the auditorium. So obviously I knew that they're being swallowed by their anger, become filled with a bloody red rage. Anger that came from a certain purpose becomes a purpose in itself and creates a vicious cycle where anger leads to more anger. Anger is a necessary emotion for humans. People face many difficulties in their lives. Anger gives them the motivation to fight and conquer such difficulties. Therefore, anger is an essential part of life itself. I will never reject anger itself. However, anger like this, that goes far beyond normal, makes people forget their purpose. That is no longer an essential part of life. Blood rushes to their head, a person can't even remember what they've done. They go out of control. Such emotions are very painful, sad, and difficult to endure. Zoo excuse. Candy's right at that, cutoff line, where there's a couple years where, it depends who you listen to. For me, the cutoff line is 1995. If you were born more recently than that, you're a Gen Z. If you're prior to that, then you're a millennial. And the only reason I do this is because I don't want my brother to be associated with the same group of people I am. I just want to feel special. I can clearly see the villagers who live alongside us turning into demons. My brother is 96. I understand the rules of the human world. The power of an individual can't be compared to the power of the government. To be able to fight, an individual needs to become part of a larger unified power. To steer that unified power in the right direction is extremely difficult. The cycle of anger leads to more anger. Not anger that helps you live, but anger that exists only for anger. Yeah, my brother's 96. I'm 93. It's just like being a demon, and this emotion is capable of violently rousing us from our long, peaceful slumber. Everyone is immersed in their own anger. We lived peacefully with the villagers while we slept quietly. Now we're awakened. It's like the world is trying to return to the age when demons were said to rise from Onigafuchi Swamp. I keep shouting at everyone to get them to calm down. My voice can't reach them because of the vicious cycle of anger. Even so, I'll continue shouting, hoping that even one of them will hear my voice. If I don't do anything, the demons may awaken. Demons that went into a deep sleep may reawaken because of this commotion. And all of a sudden, the atmosphere changed. Up, I saw that the angry exchange between villagers and those on the podium evolved into confrontation between the villagers themselves. The Scold Folks Home? So this is supposed to be Sadako's dad, but if you have noticed, it's the same voice actor as her uncle.
北条のなまぬかしよったようも村を沈めちゃる言えるの
Your teams name one uncle you actually like.
お前なんぼで村を売った
たまらんか死に損ないがいいんか南沢には貧乏にも大勢おるんお前んとこみたいに山に畑をうなろうと思ったら地主とはわけが違うわしゃあの国の保証金で十分満足しとった町の公営住宅も手配してくれ
This is what said uncle is known for in the family. You want to juggle? Because all you're getting now is this finger. I'm sad that your uncle keeps giving you the finger candy.
そんなに国と喧嘩せんかったら踊りが一人でやれしたらん銭を誰が払うね
It reminds me of that that Animaniacs one where they're looking for Prince and then they hold up they're looking for fingerprints and they hold up like a cartoon version of Prince and they're like, no, fingerprints, and they're like, I don't think so. We'll see if that ever happens. Currently, it doesn't look like it's in the cards. Which is fine.
いつからお前はわしの代表になったんじゃお前そんなに偉いんかああおうおうおう北条のようも抜かしたこの裏切り者がなら村から出ておう出ていったらもちろんそれに見合う銭はお前が払うんじゃろうなわしが国からもらい損ねた銭きっちり都合つけてくれるんじゃろうな村から出とうとも銭がないんじゃ踊りが払うんならすぐにでも出たったろわ
北条の言う通りだ立ち退いてもいいと思ってる住民もいるんだぞ御三家は俺たちを巻き込むな
おうおうなんじゃ今抜かしたのは誰じゃ名乗らんかボケ
残りたいやつ勝手に残ればいいだろうが立ち退きも権利じゃ勝手に人様の権利に干渉する
The Uncle Hunter becomes the uncle.
そうじゃそうじゃその先のクソババアはすっこんだねああもちろんダム計画に同意してくださる方には見合う保証を用意いたしております決して土地の搾取ではありませんので
黙れ役人ボケおんどりゃ
He's succeeding. Like, he didn't really have to do much. You guys are already there. The Chaos says when I become an uncle. Samus says, I think you need to get some less slippery fingers. This is my battle cry. I don't know why you're covered in goo. Did Chaos finally give you a donut? Chaos, why are your donuts covered in goo?
きっちりけじめ取らしてもらうかな。繁盛楽しみに待っとれや。
北条やれやれ。国は俺たちに仕事と住みかと金を与えろ。こらこら、やめなさい暴力は。お互いやめてやめて。
すったらちょうどじゃ。
I don't even remember the context for, like, honestly half of these quotes. Everyone is being tainted with the bloody red anger. I can only watch. This is what Chaos is known for. You guys are going to get destroyed when you hit the real world. Least I can do is apologize for the tragedy that is about to happen. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is how things started. From this day onward, the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family will wage a feud against each other. The Hojo family become ostracized within the village. This marks the beginning of Sadako and Satoshi's lives of tremendous hardship. This is what Chaos really thinks about sausage dogs. I thought we had a heavy cactus strapped to our hands. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so now you can see this one now has this like border around it because we viewed it, and it has this like bluish tint. That was one. How many are there? There's 52. We have to do 52 of those in order. And as you can see, it has little ones, like little hints. Rock candy as a treat is required. Sadako Hojo's detailed test result is required. There's little hints. I mean, you can see a little bit about what it is. And a bunch of these we can't even access yet. But yeah, that was one. There's 52 total. So from when the video hit, so we watched the intro video at 6.5 hours into this game. Then there was like a little introduction of how the fragments work. That whole bit about them, about the dam project and the people, some people wanting to support it, some wanting to walk away. That was one. There's 51 more of those. When I boot Higurashi, I have a happy voice in my head say this: Balloon Drag Queen, best leader name of all time. Yeah, so we will start knocking those down next time.